Hello, I'm Graham Horton and welcome to this video. Now, the iPhone 17 Pro Max is probably one of the world's most capable cameras on board, but if you're using this handheld, you're only using 50% of its capability. Today I'd like to populate this camera with a rig from Neewer, which is the PA0144, and additionally some side handles which I've been supplied with for this review. So full disclosure, Neewer did provide me with this kit to review for you, but as usual, it's my own words and thoughts. Any problems with this cage or accessories, you'll get to hear about in the video. So let's have a look at the kit in some detail. You get the actual cage, which is the PA0144, and it is very nicely machined from aluminium, and we'll go into a little bit more details in a moment. We've got the two handles which are additionally supplied, but they are additional accessories which you need to purchase separately, but I do recommend that you either use the single handle or the one with the Bluetooth control if you are going to be using this rig for cinematography. So we've got the one here which is the PA045E, which has in the top of it a Bluetooth remote control, which will actually slide out, so you can use this independently from the handle. So you've got this set up on a tripod, you can start and stop recording video or take photos using that Bluetooth remote. Each of the handles has a locking system which I'll explain in a moment. The other one is a plain handle, no Bluetooth control, but again you can slide out that section and you notice it's got a slide there which you can mount other accessories. It's a standard cold shoe mount size. The rig itself is particular to the iPhone 17 Pro Max, but again you can get other cages for the 17 and the 16 and the 15, and I'll put some links to those in the video description. You're also provided with 4 of these neoprene covers, and they will sit in the hole relative to where the camera control system is of the iPhone 17. So if you don't want to use that, you can actually blank that off by inserting a color coordinated bumper to the one of your camera color. You also get these plates which are there to attach over the lenses with a sort of locking system. This one is 67mm screw thread, so if you're using professional grade filters you can screw those in, and as you rotate them, say for circular polarizing or ND, they don't remove themselves like you do sometimes get with magnetic mount filters. We also get the 17mm backplate, so that's for the 17mm lenses, or as you'll see later in the video, I adapt this for some 37mm lenses which give me some fantastic close-up shots. We've also got the T-mount backplate if you've got lenses with that T-mount facility. Let's have a look at the actual rig itself in a little bit more detail. I can show you the beauty of how this is made. So it's machined from solid aluminium and it is really nicely manufactured. Here is the assembly which will fit over the lens of the iPhone 17 Pro Max, with all the ports clearly situated. So we've got the main port for the 3 lenses and the flash and LiDAR sensor through the holes there. All around the cage you've got a plethora of quarter 20 mounting points, so no shortage of quarter 20 fixing points to either allow you to put this on a tripod or a handle, or in fact add extra accessories should you need them. In terms of accessories, you've got slots here which are cold shoe compatible, so we've got one here on the top and one on the side adjacent to the lens, so we've got 2 accessory points. All the buttons which interface to the camera are rubber, so you know got a good tactile feel from the feedback from the camera. Here on the bottom of the rig you can see we've got a slot with a bar through it, so you can actually put a hand strap in there if you wanted extra security. The USB-C port is clearly defined here at the bottom, allows you to plug in power banks for extended runtime. You'll see later in the video I'm using that port to support the Neewer 4C display, which means that if I'm using the back camera, I can see what the display is like, so at a camera interview I'll be able to see the screen. In terms of mounting this, you could place this on a handheld tripod, so you could actually screw this into the bottom. And you could use it as a standard handheld rig like so, if you wanted to use it as a basic handheld device. If you didn't want to run into the extra cost of lenses, you could actually use one of these clip-on filter lenses over the frame. Now you can't use it with the native lenses because this would go off the outside edge and the filter doesn't hold flat, but with this extra profile you can actually place this over and get a seal which is now parallel to the lenses. So you could use the cheaper option if you wanted to, rather than buying additional filters if you've got already these things like the variable ND filters. All around the cage you'll see that we've got these slots. If I just angle that so you can see them. So across the bottom, up the sides and along the top are slots, and therefore these handles to attach. Now the handles have a claw locking system, and again, to open the claw you press the button on the side and that releases the claw. Then you can attach these to the rig, so I'm going to put it in that position there, and then to secure that there is a locking lever which you turn to the locking position as indicated by the decal here which says turn that, but to remember that will cover the push button, so there's no way that you'll accidentally push the button and the handle will come out. That allows you to put a handle on there. Ideally you're going to put the two handles on there so you can hand hold it, but what you can do is, if I just release this one, so I turn the lock to the unlock position, press the button, but what you can do is to take this handle and attach it to the top of the frame. So I'm just going to clip it over that top slot, again use the lock to lock it in position. And then the handle itself is rotatable, so I can actually turn this around, so you've got a briefcase style device, so you can actually use this for low angle shots as you see in the video, and it's a very comfortable device. And again you've got that Bluetooth button on the top there, so you can start you stop your video recording without having to reach to the screen and possibly give a shake on your video. So again, the Bluetooth remote control is there for that reason. Just unlock that and that will just snap off. To insert the iPhone 17 Pro Max into the cage, on the back is a little lever which slides away. That allows it to hinge out. Now inside the frame is a neoprene gasket, if you like, all the way around to protect the phone and give a little bit of vibration reduction. There's also a piece of foam rubber here to prevent damage to your phone once it's in there. Now unfortunately the iPhone will have to be used without its case, so if you've got a case on the phone you mustn't remove that, it will not fit in the rig. I guess if there's one negative consequence of this is every time that you take the phone out of the case you're into the possibility of dropping your phone, so unfortunately that's just the nature of the beast. So this will just slide into the rig, so again it will just slide neatly into that frame all the way down, and then we can close this and latch it. So now it's in the frame. Now it really does depend on what lenses you want to attach. You can use it natively with just the iPhone 17 Pro Max to give you the shots you want, or if you wanted to add neutral density to get the right shutter angle, or circular polarizing filters, or any other creative filter you want to install on the device, then you could use the accessories. Now I'm going to attach a 2 to 5 stop ND filter. This one is from Freewell, very nice filters they are. This one is a 72mm filter, so to adapt it to the 67mm lens plate I've got a step up ring on there from 67 to 72. To attach the lens plate we would need just to open the frame, so that little locking lever there, just slide it out, hinge back the top, and now the lens plate has 2 arrows on it. Now the actual 67mm plate, you can see here, has got 2 tabs on it, and they're corresponding to the 2 holes on the rig plate. So they will just attach like so, and then you push them down like so, and then to lock it in place, just swing back the arm, lock it with the lever, and now this won't come out. So then it'd be a case of just screwing in your filter. And I say I like the screw filters because some of the magnetic ones, as you're turning the ring, you'll find that you're turning the magnetic mount as well. So a 2 to 5 stop filter there. You can just see that we've got the 5 stop and 2 stop, you see through the lens. So again, you could use fixed ND filters such as this one here, or a circular polarizing filter, or as you see later in the video, I use it for close-up lenses to give me some nice close-up shots. Now the other plates are the 17mm one, so that gives you the threaded inserts here for your 17mm. You could use 17mm lenses directly in there, or as I've been using, the 17 to 37mm adapter. So you can see that here, 17mm to 37mm. So I can screw that into the ×1 lens position. And then I can attach my 37mm close-up lenses. So with these 37mm lenses, I'm getting some really good close-ups. You're not using the macro facility where it's cropped in on the main lens, you're using the full 48 megapixel to give you those great results. So let's just mount it on here and I'll show you how that works. So I'm just going to remove the 67mm by unlocking it, slide the top of the cage away, and then we can quickly remove the 67mm plate. And again, the 17mm plate will again align with the holes in the plate, press it into position, and again close the cage and lock it in position. So you can now see we've got the 17mm lens attached to the camera, and you get some really good shots. I did say I use the Neewer M4C remote display, and that just plugs into the USB-C port of the camera. So that will plug into USB-C on the bottom, latch that in place, and it's magnetically mounted, so it will go on the back of the cage. So you can see the display is on the back of the cage. It also has a USB-C port on it, so I can attach my, in this case it's the Mono lavalier wireless microphone, so that plugs into the USB-C port, USB-C coupled through to the camera to provide you with audio. So that would be my rig for outdoors for macro photography, either on a tripod or handheld. You get some great results, as you'll see later in the video. So this would be the rig with that macro lens attached. If you find that you wanted to change the position of the handle, so if you've got it in the upper position and you wanted to change the position of the grip, inside each of the handles is an Allen key, and in the side of this unit there's a screw, so you can just slacken that screw and adjust this up to 53mm, so it just gives you a little bit of adjustment. So this is the PA144 rig with the 045B and 045E handles with the Bluetooth remote. Used this for several weeks now. Is it perfect? Almost. There are a couple of issues with it which I found. When you receive the 045B handle, it looks as though it's not going to attach with the larger lens plate, but this rotates through 360 degrees, so it's just a case of rotating through 360 degrees when you fix it to the camera, as you want the locks on the front or on the back, as you see here. Now the cage is completely surrounding the iPhone, so if you are using this outdoors you will get some signal attenuation, so it does reduce the standard networking for your phone if you've got the complete cage. But normally you're going to put your phone into airplane mode, so you're not going to get disturbance, but it does reduce the RF coming into the device if you're using it on a network, so be aware of that. It's quite a heavy device once you've got the handles attached, but again you can attach this onto a tripod as you've seen in the video to provide you with some excellent shots. So it's no longer a pocketable device, so you have extended it, but that is the ecosystem for a cinematic setup. So for about £130 for the complete rig, it's about half the price of the competitive products from, say, small rigs. So it is giving you full control of the camera, full facilities to mount additional lenses or accessories. So if I wanted to add, say for example, a light to the system, I can just slide that into the cold shoe and now I've got a light. Or again, you could use a microphone on the top and plug that into your camera. So the system gives you full control of your camera for a cinematic rig setup. Now there is an advantage to using the non-native camera app, such as the Blackmagic Cinema app. It means you can specify the actual lens to use. When you screw in additional lenses onto this lens plate, sometimes the native camera app will select a lens that you don't really want and there's no way of changing it back. So with the Blackmagic Cinema camera app, I'll show you how you can select the exact lens that you want. So you want to use the telephoto lens and a close-up lens to give you that greater working distance. So let me set that up and I'll show you what I mean. And so I've installed the 17mm backplate into the PA144 Cage. I've screwed in my 17 to 37mm adapter, and here I've got a ×10 close-up lens. Close the rig back up again, lock it in place, and now we can see on this Blackmagic Cinema camera app the display from this device. So if I bring my pen close to that, you can see the amount of magnification I can get. On the Blackmagic Cinema camera app, here we've got the lens selector. So here we've got the back lens selected, which is the telephoto lens, which is 4 times magnification. Then we've got digital magnification to give us 8 times, 12 times, 16 times and 24 times. So normally we'd be using the standard 100mm telephoto lens. I'll take some shots with this and you can just see the amount of magnification we can get using the telephoto lens of the iPhone 17 with indeed that magnification of ×10. So let's go in with the ×10 lens and pick up that first bud. And again the focus point seems to be about 5 centimeters, so that is with a ×10 close-up lens. Go across to this other bud again. Obviously depth of field is going to be reduced because of the higher magnification, but you can see the quality is quite acceptable even from these very cheap single lens filters. Let's go back to the little fellow and we can see the amount of magnification. So that is with the ×10 lens. I'm pushing in and we're around about 4 centimeters from the subject. As you can see, we get a much wider field of view. Let's try and go into this one. So again, the closest distance is around about 10 centimeters, and you can see the increased field of view we've got with the lens now. So let's go back up to the little chappy over here, and we should see we've got a wider field of view with the ×2 lens, but of course you're using the full pixels of the lens now, not using the macro enablement of the iPhone 17 to give you this shot. So that's my review of the Neewer PA144 rig for the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Ideally purchase it with the additional handles. You probably get away with one handle, but get the one with the Bluetooth remote, or if you want full control, the second handle will give you that extra stability. Really do like this rig, and in conjunction with that 4C remote display, if I'm doing a camera shot so the camera is facing me, then with the display mounted here I can actually see that I'm in frame and in focus, etc. So again, that's maybe an accessory you want to consider for your productions. Well, that's all for the video. Thanks very much for watching. I do appreciate Neewer sending the product out to review for me, and I hope to see you all in later videos. So until then, thanks for watching and goodbye for now.